you left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I definitely misled us on that one. Anyway, what up, YouTube? It's Two Fat Guys Pull Us, and it's episode 76. Last week was supposed to be 76, but both of us were just a bit tired, a little bit under the weather. But we're back.
Started brewing again. My body hurt.
Yeah, right? Better than ever. Anyway, welcome to episode 76 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. You know the drill. We usually talk about our business, as usual, at the beginning of the show. And so first up, we're going to talk about Two Fat Guys Pull Us on BrainyComics.com. If you don't know, our sponsor for the show, Collected Comics and Games, is our LCS here in the DFW area, and they have a website called BrainyComics.com. Over on BrainyComics.com, you can buy some comics. You can buy exclusive covers. You can buy very awesome looking covers. The other thing you can do is when you buy some comics over there, it doesn't have just big comics. You can get graphic novels, games, all kinds of stuff. One cool thing you can do is you can get the Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade when you check out. So when you check out, you can pick up the Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade for $8, which gives you one mystery exclusive comic cover. And then if you do the premium, if you're set up for the premium for $15, you get 2 exclusive mystery covers. Now you're like, Jim, what do the mystery covers look like? Well, I can show you. Go right over here. We got some nice covers over here. We got some Gwenverse. We got some Hulk. We got some Silver Surfer. We got Red Sonja. You know, he's got a ton. Ron's got a ton of exclusive covers here on BrainyComics.com. And if you sign up for that upgrade, you potentially could get one of these covers or something else. You know, he's got like I said, you can go to the exclusive variant tab and see all of the exclusives that he has. And when you sign up or when you put that in your cart at the end of your shopping experience, you could get one of these as a mystery cover in your box or whatever that you purchased that day on BrainyComics.com. So go ahead and over to BrainyComics.com, buy some comics, set yourself up with the Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade or premium upgrade today, and support our LCS. We would love for you to do it. You know, you don't have to, but we'd love for you to, because we think Collected Comics and Games is pretty sweet LCS. So anyway, that is that part of the business. The other part is we are trudging along. We are getting ever so closer to 650 subscribers. And when we do, we're giving away this 9.8 CBCS graded Daredevil issue number 25 second print, first cover of Elektra as Daredevil and Elektra as Daredevil in the book. Sweet slab we're giving away. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give us a like tonight. And if you're watching this as a previous episode, do those same things. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and give us a like. And then as always, once we hit 1,000, you know the drill. We're giving away this amazing Spider-Man issue number 4, 9.8 CBCS graded first appearance of Silk. We will be giving it away at 1,000 subscribers. So,
but maybe not. Who knows? It might not be though.
No, we're going to.
I mean, something might happen. Just
like what?
You know, who knows? Something might happen.
What? We open up our own LCS. We set up a stream room in there, and then somehow it just disappears because you took it.
No, because we auction it off.
No, we can't do that.
To pay bills.
We can't. No, we can't do that. That's why when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll be making that 15 cents per video because we hit that 1,000 subscriber threshold for monetization.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to get at right there.
15 cents.
Anyway, let's talk about week February 2. That was this week's polls. I'd give it, as for Marvel DC, if it was just Marvel DC, I'd give it a B-.
I'd give it a B+.
You give it a B+? Okay, that's all right.
Plus for Marvel DC.
You're wrong. That's fine. But if it came to independence,
A++.
A++, like S rank.
Yes.
You know, didn't lose any lives, but we'll get into it. So we always start off the show with our X books, and we're going to kick it off with X Lives of Wolverine, issue number 2 from Benjamin Percy. A little more clarity.
Was there any more clarity?
I felt like there was in my. I thought there was. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, my assessment is a touch cloudy because I hadn't read Deaths number 1, so I read Deaths and this back to back.
Yeah.
And Deaths, I was like, oh, this is a great mutants book. Why the fuck is this a Wolverine book? But this makes sense, and this is totally Inferno Part 5. Like, totally love it.
Death?
Love that X. Yeah, Death was
Okay.
was Inferno issue 5 essentially.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I see where we're going.
Yeah.
Now we're going back to this Lives again, where it's an old live of Wolverine, and he's in the past. I don't care. I don't care at all.
See, I knew you were going to say this.
Why we're wasting our time.
Okay, so I don't know why we're wasting our time, but let me just give you my assessment and prediction to where both these books are going to meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So in Deaths, we what did you say? Sadly missed this one this week. It's all good. We'll give you a clean sheet here. In Deaths, right, we get introduced to a new version of Wolverine, which is a phalanxed Wolverine, right? And even Jean's like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's up with this? Like, it's a complete curveball for her, right? And I think, and again, I could be wrong on this, but the clarity I got in this issue is at the beginning of the mission, Wolverine went rogue, right? So he goes rogue in this comic, right? When he gets to his,
like, this is the worst part of me.
Right. So when he was part of the X, what is it called? It's not the X Force. It's, I don't remember what the name of the tactical group is, but
yeah,
he did a lot of shitty things. Like, he killed innocent people and all this stuff. So he goes rogue in that life, right? I think, I don't know, this is going to get really muddy, but I think what's happening is that in Deaths, we're seeing a version of Wolverine that has to go clean up current Wolverine, who decided, you know what, I'm gonna make something of myself. I'm going to fuck with the timeline. And we have I think we have a phalanx Wolverine going back and saying, I gotta stop him, because shit ain't gonna work if that works out. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be totally off, but I think that's the only way that these two comics meet in the middle, because I don't know, like, we're seeing it currently, and like, he wants to stay. Like, we get lingering effects in this issue of him, like, wanting to stay with his wife, wanting to change his direction of choices within certain lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where we're heading.
I see it, and I'm telling you, I see Trial of Magneto all over
again. Yeah.
So honestly, what it feels like, and who knows where things were before editorial got involved, or even Benjamin Percy himself, but it seems like Lives of Wolverine is just an arc that could have been pulled out of, just put in Wolverine the book.
I agree.
And it seems like Deaths, we only have one issue, so I could be very wrong in this, but just from the one issue, it literally just seems like this is a continuation of Inferno. And so why are these two even connected? They don't. I know we'll eventually hopefully get there, but
right.
So far to me, this just seems like editorial said, well, shit, we're gonna have a break from February to April between all of our X books. We need something to keep the X people going every single week. And they somehow, Benjamin Percy maybe even was just like, hey, here's an idea, let's do this. and they're like, "Yep, cool, let's go with it." And I'm not into it.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't fault you for that at all. But I think that's where we're heading. Is we've got basically two versions of Wolverine. We have the version of Wolverine that set out in this mission to keep Charles safe, and then took advantage of the mission and tried to change things while he was in these lives. Right? I think that's where we're headed in X Lives of Wolverine, and then in Deaths we have, you know, the correction. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the name of the group? The TWA from Loki.
The TVA, Time Variance Authority.
Yeah, like, and when I read this issue, I'm like, are they going to pop up? You know, like, I know, you know, we got them in the Reckoning War, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to show up here, because, like, clearly we're fucking... Alert.
God.
Well, we'll get there, but anyway, we'll get... I was wondering, like, are they going to pop up? Because Wolverine is, like... Even Jean's like, don't do that, and he goes off and is going to fuck with shit, so maybe that's their, you know, employing an agent of Wolverine to go in. I don't know. I think we will meet in the middle. I'm hopeful for it. I guess that's just me being, you know, hopeful. But I totally understand your just lack of enthusiasm and excitement for it. I get it. I totally get it. You know, this one, I think Lives is definitely a drag right now. But I wouldn't put it past the X Office and Benjamin Percy. Like, if there's one way to show us as X readers, hey, Hickman's gone, but swing by the end of... issue 5 of both series, we're like, oh shit, there it is. You know what I mean? And I think I wanted to bring this up too. Like, I feel like they're trying to set us up for a Hoxpox style reveal. You know what I mean? But it's clearly not being executed as well as Hickman did it. Like, I just kind of see those notes of like when we got issue 1 of X Lives, I was like, what are we doing here? And then I tried to remember Hoxpox, and I never was like, what are we doing here? It was always like, I got to get to the next page because I want to know what we're doing here, rather than like a skeptical question of what are we doing here, if that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense, yeah.
Okay, well, that's X Lives. Essentially, you know, we get him with his wife, you know, having an intimate moment, and then Omega Red being in there. I think that's the problem. I literally am just going to brain fart here. There's too much shit going on in this story. Like, we have, hey, you need to save Xavier, right? Because Omega Red is traveling through time to kill him. Oh, yeah, wait. Don't forget about the X Cerebro sword and the helmets, and they're all interconnected. Oh, by the way, Wolverine wants to correct things within the timeline, and Jean's telling him to stop. Like, there's a lot of shit going on in Lives. Whereas I feel like, and we could be totally wrong, by issue 3 or 4, we could be just, like, off. But Death, it's like, we got one mission. We don't know what it is, but at least it looks pretty clear.
Bro, oh my god.
What?
How did you not tell me the blankie was in here?
Well, I don't know. I didn't think you worried about your blankie. The other night you had candles, and that was like, it was setting the mood.
Hey, that's how I read, man.
Well, you should set candles for the show every night.
Literally, the candle is,
Whoa. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, you, like, digitized for a second. You couldn't hear it. Anyway. Well, the candles are normally for what?
I said it's book scented, is what I said.
Oh, book scented? Like new books, or?
I don't know. It doesn't smell like books to me at all, but that's what it's supposed to smell like.
That's weird. All right, next up.
It smells good. That's all it matters.
We got Sabertooth issue number 1. Before I say anything about this book, I want to know what you think, because you were the one that was extremely skeptical of it, and I just want to know. I want to get your perspective first.
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it more than I thought I would because it didn't do what I was hoping it would do, or quite get there. So what I was really hoping was that Victor Lavelle was going to just straight up, like, go on a fuck the American prison system tangent.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. He still could, and he's kind of skirted it a little bit.
Yeah.
But really, he just sort of... It seems like he's taking a very comic book approach to what's going on here, and thinking, like, what exactly is it that's going to happen in this pit? And so it pretty much seems like Sabertooth has created some version of Krakoa in hell.
Yeah.
So the story was okay, not too bad. Enough to where I'll pick up the next issue. The art was good. I liked how violent it was. Like I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that many arms to be ripped off in a single issue. Like very specifically, arms getting ripped off. Like there's a couple of like throats getting cut out and decapitations, but for the most part, it's just a lot of arms getting ripped off. So,
I really dug the Sabertooth signing the contract with Krakoa and Doug. I thought that was a really cool page. I'm actually going to pull it out so we can see it. And I also, I mean, I got very like Dante's Inferno vibes in this book, in my opinion. I mean, it just felt that way. Yeah, there it is right there. It's a good looking, that to me, this right here is like, again, we're trying to sow seeds of like remembrance of Hoxpox, right? Like remembrance of Jonathan Hickman. And to me, this felt very Jonathan Hickman. You know what I mean? So I definitely dug that. But yeah, basically, Bro is basically building out his own hell. You know, like he's the master of none, right? And then the only thing, I guess for me, I don't want to say disappointing, but just kind of going like, wait, what? Continuity wise is who gets thrown into the pit with him at the end. You know, like I was we never saw those people get dropped into the pit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was a little like, what? But I don't know. For the most part, I was okay with it. I think he just needed to be, it needed to be mutants that were expendable.
Right.
So
anyway, Calvin says, did you see what he did to that bear's face? Yeah, dude, that bear got fucked up in that. I mean, everybody got screwed up, man. I mean, like, this was a brutal comic, and I think the only thing that could have made it better, again, you said the art was great. I liked the art, too. I thought the art was done really well. But, man, if Stegman had been in this book, oof, it would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying.
That's not fair to compare, though.
I know, but still. Anyway, solid. This is a mini, yeah? Like 3 or 4? 3?
I think it's a 5, actually, but I was trying to look it up, but my computer's being wonky.
Next up, we got Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, issue number 2.
It's okay.
It was okay. I think you're dead on in the sense that we're trying to like leapfrog. I don't know if anyone has, or anyone in the current show right now that's watching, saw our Daredevil video. If you haven't, go check that out later after the show. We're just kind of give like our opinion on why we're getting a new number 1, and our theory on to if Chip's Devil's Reign event is actually his event, or if it's just Marvel editorial saying, hey, we need to chop this up. But I don't know. I felt like this was meh. I don't know. I walked away from it not really, just kind of being neutral.
Yeah, it felt almost exactly to me like the first issue did. It was like I enjoyed the little bit of Elektra and Matt scenes and like the little bit of background and stuff like that, but ultimately, like, I don't see much development. I don't see any development really from Elektra at all. And like, so what is it that we're really supposed to be getting here? Is it this is the reintroduction of the Hand and making that plot point more central, and so that we'll be focusing on it once the new Daredevil starts. But as of right now, I'm unfortunately just curious what the point of this book is.
Yeah, and I think and it's like we set up a point in the first issue with Kraven saying, "Hey, I got your secret. I'm gonna go tell Matt." Ha ha ha. And then halfway through the book, it's like Lecture's like, "No, he already knows." And I'm like, well, then what are we doing here? Well, then I'm gonna have to make it really count. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, it just felt like I was reading in circles. And the other thing that popped into my mind, which is actually, I don't know how much relevance it'll What am I trying to say? Relevance. Blah, blah, blah. So Punisher, right? He's going to be joining the Hand very soon, in May, I believe. Maybe April.
Going to be the same timeline or the same point in time.
See, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, so is it? Are we going to be having a Punisher Daredevil run in here? That's kind of intriguing. So maybe we'll see some crossover.
It makes sense for those two crossover quite frequently. So that would make sense.
Right.
I don't know. I don't feel like there is though.
Well, a Chip Zdarsky, Jason Aaron like crossover event, I wouldn't mind that. Seven says Craven side quest, no doubt. Like he's basically taking over this book, and then all the bear talk. Calvin says Marvel hates bears. Yeah, this week was not a good week for bears. Like, very bad. All right, after that we've got the Alpha of Fantastic Four's Reckoning War from Dan Slott. Yo, a lot of stuff happened in this book.
Yes, a lot of stuff.
And I know they referenced, or Slott referenced it reading issue 7 of SheHulk, but then there's another one that basically kind of pops up in here that you need to read to kind of understand why apparently this entire Reckoning War event is SheHulk's fault, which I did go read. I read it and it was like, okay, this is why it's your fault. And then like in the issue itself, they kind of like, because she was basically getting ready to be eliminated. She was a variant, right? So the SheHulk we have in this issue is a variant from her run, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So what up, Jaden? So in the SheHulk book, I guess she's trying to give a letter to Hawkeye so that he lives or something like that, and that creates the variant, right? So then the TVA comes in and tells her like, hey, you're fucking with shit, you're going to prison. And so they blip her out, and then she goes and she actually has a trial, right? And in the middle of the trial, one of the agents that's in this book takes her to the Reckoning War, and she shows her the Reckoning War, and like I guess like one of the God, what are they called? One of the Watchers is about to die, and like crazy shit. And she basically says like, okay, well, now that I know the future, I can stop the Reckoning War from happening. She's like, that's not how time works, right? So then they go back to the trial, and then someone breaks in and disrupts the trial, and they just let her off the hook. And yeah, and so that plot point that has been completely unresolved is this book. Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to go read it. That's what I'm basically saying. Is you need to go read that issue.
I guess so. Issue 3. Issue 3 from her
3, but I think 7 will have some relevancy there too, though. I think there is going to be something there as well. But essentially, we get this war of a race, or the Reckoning, I guess you would call them. There's an actual defined name for them, who were given weapons and technology by the Watchers before they became the Watchers, essentially, and they peaked to the point where they were killing each other with the weapons, and so the Watchers killed them off, or they killed them off except for like one of them, right? Something like that.
I don't know.
And so he's back and he's selling Watcher weaponry on the black market. And so now they've come to collect, and that's really the premise. We saw these weapons in Empire, the Chitauri, or what were the name of the
Chitauri.
The T'Chari had them, and then we had Fury. I mean, there was so much going on in this book. Like, I liked it, but man, this was thick in the sense of concept.
Yes, and what I don't understand is, like, if you're going to do a big event centering around it.
Is it a big event though?
No. Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If Marvel is going to do a big event, why would it not be this? The fucking moon gets blown up.
Yeah.
Why are we doing Devil's Reign and it's just Civil War 3? We've done this before. we get it. You want to sell tie-ins, great. You can do a lot of tie-ins here, too.
Right. Yeah.
This is way bigger. If we're talking about the entire continuity getting affected, the moon getting blown up,
Yeah.
which I also have a big problem with, because literally at one point they were like, oh, the moon blowing up, is that going to have an effect on Earth? And I'm pretty sure it's Reed who goes, there's plenty of other planets that don't have moons. Bitch.
Yeah.
If anyone in the whole world would know how fucked the world would be with no moon, it would be Reed Richards.
Right.
Oh, that bothered me so much.
So do you is that lazy writing, or is that just like given like I don't give a fuck, I'm blowing up the moon?
Those are the same thing, right? I mean, it's
You're right. Yeah.
I think that's lazy writing, and I am able to suspend my disbelief very easily. I'm a superhero comics fan.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, dude! Like you got to try better than that. You got to do better.
No, I agree. What up, Quiku? Quiku says, "What's up, guys? Reckoning where Alpha was good, but I feel it moves really fast." Agreed. Also, blowing up the moon was cool, but because they don't spend much time on it, I'm sure they'll fix it whenever the event ends. I agree. Just a lot. Wait, what? So this is a Moonfall tie-in, basically. I mean, that thing gets blown up fairly quickly. Well, I guess we should have said spoiler warning, Grayson. Oh shit, the moon blow up. I avoid these because of slot, but maybe I'll give it a read. It's a good read. Like, it is a good read. I mean, Quiko's right. The pacing is extremely fast. I was in it. You know, I am in it. I am ready to read this in Fantastic Four. But even though Slot said, you know, there's only maybe one or two comics you need to read to really understand what's going on, it felt like I was missing something. Like, because of how quickly it was moving. And you're explaining all these plot points so you can understand the next issue of Fantastic Four, essentially. And don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to it, but it did move very quickly, and it was packed with information. It didn't read. I'll tell you this: the pacing of the writing. You know, there are some comics we'll read, and it's just like paragraph, 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 and that's one page, and you're like, okay, I just want to turn the next page. This book didn't do that, but
no, it didn't.
There's a lot going on. I think the SheHulk thing is probably, out of everything in the book, that is probably the most disconnected, disjointed part of the book. But not to say that they don't lay, you know, Slot lays down like, hey, if you want to know what's going on, go read this issue. He does do that, and I give him credit for that. And so I'm very interested to see how it all connects, because it seems like it's really at the feet of SheHulk. Like, they blatantly say this is the Reckoning War is your fault, and we'll have to see how it plays out. So.
Also, this whole splash, or double page spread, Silver Surfer in Overspace, and like seeing Eternity like writhing in pain, and that whole premise was amazing. He even runs into what's her name, Griever, and he's like, literally, your name is like the Griever at the end of all things. You were banished to the far future, like at the very end. She's like,
and this is where it ends.
Yeah, bitch, where you think you are. I thought that was really good.
I do too.
So I do have some nitpicking, and Dan Slott deserves to have everything nitpicked all to hell for the damage that he's done to our baby boy Franklin Richards. But
do you think this is? Do you still stand by your prediction that this event will be where Franklin gets fixed?
I don't feel that way anymore. I really, really hope so, but no, I don't. I don't know.
I mean, it feels like a big enough event that he could, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everything's going to go to shit.
I agree. I just... Average Joe just said Conchu's going to be pissed.
Oh, yeah. Conchu's... Yep.
That's
That's a good...
anyway.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, again, looking forward to it, but there was a lot. I mean, it was... You know, this was what? Our 1, 2, 3, 4... It was our 4th book in the reading order. So, I mean, I'm glad I got it out of the way early, because if I had ended with this book, I would have been like, huh? I don't... What'd you do to the moon?
Come again?
Next up, we got ShangChi, issue number 8, Lineage, basically learning of ShangChi's grandfather, and how shitty his father really is. This is really an honorable mention, and I'm not saying that because it wasn't good. It's just a history lesson essentially in this issue, and it's really good. And listen, this is more of a commentary of what's coming up next. I absolutely love this artist on this current run. I think he's fantastic. I think he really lent himself to the book, and we're getting a new artist in issue 9, and it's the guy that did Excalibur, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on that art, but dude, I just, there's gonna be a tonal shift, and I don't know if I can get behind it. I know I'm probably pissing you off, Nate, but I really enjoyed the artwork up until, and I'm not saying I don't know. I just felt like his artwork lent itself to this story, and I just don't know, and I'm sure I'm going to eat my words when issue 9 comes out. But I just, even in the book, they're like, we're saying goodbye to our artist. I'm like, why? It's been great. Stop. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a, say what?
I said, no. I mean, I get that. There's always going to be a tonal shift whenever an artist changes. So let's just hope that
I have no doubt it'll be good. Yeah.
Yes, but let's just hope Marcus Toe's amazing style fits the energy that we're trying to get from this book.
Well, and we're shifting into the grandfather's mystic land. That's where we're headed. And so he just got off of basically drawing Otherworld and these grandiose backgrounds and fantasy filled, so I'm sure he can do it. I don't doubt it. I'm just saying I hope that Rowan gets on another book very soon within Marvel, if not over at DC. I thought it was awesome. I mean, every time I thought about dropping the book, the writing and the artwork just kept me going. So I don't know. That's just that.
I didn't realize
anyway,
that he had been the artist since the previous volume too.
Yeah.
He did literally the first 13 issues with.
It was really good. Yeah.
I wonder why they're pulling him off.
Maybe he signed a contract. Maybe he's with DC now. I don't know. I don't know. But I thought it was great. But anyway, the story itself was good. We get a little more backstory behind his grandfather. We show how misguided ShangChi was when he was a kid and how he actually created that scar that's on his grandfather's face, but he was misguided by his dad. Yeah, it was definitely some family drama in issue 8 and kind of seeing, how all this has led up to what we're going through now. So, can't wait for issue 9. I'm going to continue to pick up the book, even though I'm a little bit disappointed on, the artwork change, but the artwork is in good hands. I will say that. I am excited for that.
Yes. Also,
Uji?
Calvin. Oh, you're fine changing it. I think Dracula is currently living in Chernobyl, right?
Yeah.
Last we saw him was Avengers 40. So, no, it was Avengers 50 something. It was the King of Black tie-in. Mm-hmm. Blade had left as the sheriff
right.
of watching their little town. And Average Joe. Humans haven't been on the moon since War of Kings.
I don't know. I mean,
they blasted off.
There's not that many Inhumans left anymore after Donny Cates took care of them too. Yeah,
I think it's War of Kings 2005, 2008ish when they blasted off to go take over the Kree from Ronan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 of
them. The moon
left.
goes through a lot of phases here.
I see what you did there. Anyway, tell me about Alien.
Oh,
was it good?
Alien. It was good. Alien was good. It's Philip Kennedy Johnson deserves a better artist on this book.
Wow.
I mean, we all know Salvador LaRocca. We know what we're getting with his at this point. It's
right.
Yeah, your tracings are good, dude. Good job.
Damn. Damn.
His aliens on really his alien faces are amazing. His really static alien faces. Yeah, man, those are really great. I don't know how much Guru EFX is really buttering him up. I think it's probably a lot with his colors, but sure.
Right.
But then you get some scenes with aliens, and you look at it and you're like, dude, it literally looks like you're tracing an action figure that's arms don't move, that just go like this.
Yeah.
Literally this one. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, that's very like robot, like.
Like, it's literally just like, ah! I don't know. That's just not how I would envision an alien would react when getting shot with a shotgun.
No.
So basically, since it's been 4 months since we've had an alien book, a religious settlement, a la the United States colonies and on a new planet instead, is getting started. And basically what happens is Wayland Yutani, the company, sees that they're going to be super prosperous and really going to make it work. Like all of they grow their own food and be totally independent. So like, no, we can't have this shit. So they purposefully planted an alien on their next cargo ship. We find that out because the co-religious leader was a android the whole time, and he gets his brains bashed in just like the android in the first Alien, but he's still in shambles, and they still plug him in, and they turn off his ability to lie, and so they ask him questions, and they get the truth of it all. And basically they say, well, hey, we got to get the hell out of here. And a sect of them are like, no, like, we're just being challenged by Mother, which is like their god, and it's like, we're just being challenged and we have to stay here and nothing's gonna happen to us. And half of the crew's like, yeah, so deuces, we're out of here, you do that. And, and so they leave, and the other half stay there and pray the alien not away, right to them, and they all get slaughtered really viciously. Absolutely, like, faces ripped off, the little like going through the back of a head and out their mouth. Oh, it was crazy.
Okay.
Very violent, very exactly what you would expect from an Aliens comic, I think. But the overall, I don't know, the overall story that we're getting here, I think, is pretty interesting. What we're kind of seeing, we're being told flat out now that the company is using aliens as bioweapons, essentially.
Sorry, xenomorphs.
The xenomorphs, yeah, as literally as weapons. And so it's going to be interesting what the implications are from this. I'm really hoping that this arc is like a character study, like an up close of the way that can happen, and then the next arc is going to be pull it back and see,
right?
How it all, what it means, big picture.
Gotcha.
But overall, super easy to read comic, very entertaining. I will be picking this up for a while.
Yeah, Johnson's your boy.
Yep, no doubt.
All right, after that, we got our last Marvel book of the night, and that is Star Wars High Republic, issue number 14. It did not disappoint. Woo! That was, I mean, just hell in a handbasket, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just crazy. I feel, again, I'm just going to reiterate it. I get why we had the first arc. I get it. But this was it. Like, this, it was almost like, hey, let's put this little fluffer here. And I get it, kind of character development, but I still feel like it was weak sauce comparative to this. This was like Star Wars, High Republic, shit's going down. Lightsabers, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude.
So what you nailed it on the head without really even knowing it. What happened with this series is the first part, or the first 6 or 7, 8 issues were everything was doing its own thing. Like, it was with the novels, with the kids comic, with the young adult readers. It was all like, hey, this is High Republic, and as more stuff came out, we closed it all in, and everything started coalescing together. And so I think we were a little too loose in the first part of this book. But as you're starting to see the drama of the overall High Republic era unfold, you're seeing it affect even what's going on in this comic book, and I think it makes it a lot more interesting. I think that probably should have happened 4 or 5 issues ago.
Yeah, like after issue 4, like, we should have been doing this stuff.
Like, even, and see, the big problem is, like, the reason why we didn't get any look into the Republic Fair tragedy is because none of the characters that are centered in this book were anywhere near it. They were nowhere near Vallow, and so it just wouldn't have made any sense for this comic book to go there. But I think it almost has to do that, almost like as a separate arc, or even it gets its own mini, or like some kind of that had to have been addressed, because you don't even know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and so like the picturing the Nile as these big giant baddies, you really don't have that much experience if you've only read the comics. Literally, the tragedy of the Republic Fair, they literally into the atmosphere of the planet where they're having a world fair where people from all planets over the galaxy are coming in, and they literally warp into the atmosphere and start shooting their anti-aircraft cannons down at people. Like, you know, single incendiary rounds that are blowing up tens of thousands of people at once.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's massive mass destruction.
Well, and I think that's, like, for me, like, the weight of this issue, outside of Marshall losing her shit, came from the mini that we're currently reading about Eye of the Storm, Marcion Rowe. Yeah. You know, to me, that's for strictly comic book readers, that showed me like, okay, this shit's about to go down, and then shit was going down in this issue, and then I don't know, like even this cover's like, yes, that's what I've been wanting to see. Like I want to know more about these characters. I don't care about Dark Side Vegetation. I'm sorry.
They're supposed to be defeated, so
better be. God, and then but we're going back in time, so I'm sure they're gonna pop up.
Well, no, because they get awakened entering this era. So.
Okay, man.
Doesn't matter. One thing that I will point out that you might find really interesting is the scene where Stellan Gios basically tells Avar Kriss that she's been relieved as the Marshal of Starlight Beacon.
Yeah.
That entire conversation is word for word from book.
The novel. Cool.
Yeah, like literally I even went back and looked word for word from the book.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty neat that they inserted that, because it was a pretty powerful scene. And actually, again, if you're reading the books, way more powerful, because Stellan Gios, Avar Kriss, and then a character you've never met in the comics, Elzar Mann, they kind of considered themselves a non-sexual trio of sorts, because they all grew up together, they all really, really smart and way advanced and blah blah blah. So like having Stellan go against her was a really big deal.
Gotcha.
And then then you get to see the big boom, the boom.
Yep.
I can't say anything else.
Yeah.
I'm curious to the last issue. I'm curious how much we're going to see.
How many more issues do we have until it's on hiatus? One more?
One, and then
it's
we're done.
just getting good. God damn it! Oh, I'm kind of pissed.
One, and then this era is done.
Well, then we have two, then we get two prequels. All right, with Marcion Rowe, he's got two more issues of his book, and then
just one more issue.
Just one?
Yeah, it's 2 issue maybe.
I'm pissed. This should have been. It should have been fleshed out more. I'm sorry.
I agree. I think that while, you know, as someone who is just said A+ across the board for everything High Republic, like literally the middle grade novels are a blast. Like they're great. The young adult novels are great. The adult novels are great. Everything is great. I even listened to the audiobook that was an audiobook only, which is written by Kevin Scott.
Right.
And it was great. But if you're not taking in all of it, you're not getting the full picture.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And I think if you read only the adult books, you're going to get a wonderful story. If you read only the kid books, you're going to get a wonderful story. If you read only the young adult book, you're going to get a wonderful story. I don't think you get a wonderful story if you're only reading the Marvel comic.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot missing.
It's a little disappointing.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into DC with Batman issue 120, Williamson. What's going on in this book? This is my first question mark in my opinion. Just because I'm kind of lost. So Lex Luthor buys Batman Inc.
Yes.
And then employs Batman Inc. to kill Abyss.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
And then Lex tries to recruit Wayne. He says no.
Mm-hmm.
Then Batman finds out that Abyss is actually alive, even though it was said that Batman Inc. killed Abyss.
You're still there. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this issue, we find out that Batman Inc., who are going to prison,
Mm-hmm.
are actually, their boss is Abyss,
Yes.
who wants to kill Lex Luthor.
Yep.
Huh? What's that? There's just too much of this. There's just too much of
So,
that. I don't.
It when you do it like that, yes.
Yes.
It
That's how it reads.
You're right. You're 100% right. But what
Okay,
I'm saying
so-
is, now that you have finished it,
Okay.
you can describe it much easier. Batman Inc. has decided to betray Bruce Wayne, or to betray Batman for Abyss, and that's it. That's all
No,
there
but they
is to
betrayed
it.
Lex too.
Nope, that was yes, but that was part of the whole ploy the whole time. The only thing is, Batman Inc. views themselves as good guys, and we're with Bruce Wayne.
And they're also pissed with
Now-
Bruce Wayne for like abandoning them.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they've got shit going on about that too.
Okay.
Apparently, they
Okay.
think he was. They basically were like, "You weren't a good enough leader. Abyss is our leader now. We don't like Lex Luthor. We're gonna kill him, or whatever. We're gonna take him out." Obviously, if they're gonna kill him, like obviously they knew Batman was gonna have a problem with that. We don't kill people, which
Right.
is the lamest thing in the whole goddamn world. But
Yeah.
sure, yeah. So we're not gonna kill him. So screw you, Batman. We're with this Abyss guy now. What I'm curious is, are these Batman Inc. characters? Are they really on their own free will, or are they somehow being manipulated by Abyss still?
Like dark black goo in your eyes or something like that.
Exactly.
I know. I
Like
see.
some
I see
kind
that.
of-
Okay.
Who knows? Because I don't know these characters. I don't know if these are from the Grant Morrison Batman Inc. yesteryear, but I don't know. So I don't know if these guys are acting in character or not, or if this seems weird.
Right.
Or,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like. You know what? I'm dropping the book. I'm not saying that. It's just a lot of like double crossing, double agent, triple agent shit going on here, and I guess I feel like Batman, because even Batman in this issue is like, huh? What? Who? Why are you here? Lex? What? Like that's just how, like Bats couldn't get his footing. You know, like he was just on an island, right? Like he couldn't.
Yeah.
Once he thought he figured it out, oops, it's the other way around. And I guess that's, you know, a credit to a good Batman detective style book. But it just read very like zip zah zip, whoop, whoop, you know, like just watching the Golden Snitch just fly around. You know what I'm saying? Throwing a Harry Potter reference there. That being said, I thought the artwork was fantastic. Not that I'm not, you know, I cannot wait for our boy Jimenez to come back and do it right, but I thought it was good.
Yes. Well, you know, Jorge Molina's been very serviceable, especially when you're getting boosted by Tommy Moret and your colors. But Mikhail Janin, I really like his style. He reminds me of a not quite as liney, harsh Federici. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
I really like his style. He did the scenes with the Batman Inc. and stuff, but it literally the way that I'm pretty sure that he colored himself too. I don't think Moray colored his stuff because it has such a matte finish. There's no way you're gonna be able to tell on here, but like
no, I see what you're
this
saying.
is very Assad Ribicky to me. Like the way it's very matte and atmospheric.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, I liked it too, and I'm just interested. You know, I know, is it the next issue that we get Ghostmaker, or is it the issue after?
It's this next upcoming issue.
Oh, yes, please.
So, yeah.
What? No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, after watching a couple of other reviewers, pop culture philosophers, is the one I'm thinking of, but I watched someone else's, and they were just not happy with this run so far. And you know, a lot of people for some reason were unhappy with Tinian's entire run. I thought all Tinian's run was very good. I know Fear State finished flat, but regardless, they were like, okay, we're ready for a new chapter, and then they get this Williamson four arc Batman Inc. sort of strangeness, and most people are ready to jump off. Like, I don't know, I'll see what's after the arc. And what I'm worried is people are going to bail on this book pretty quickly, because as soon as this arc is done, like literally next issue 121 is the finale of this arc with Ghostmaker, and then 122 is part 2 of that tie-in thing that he's doing between
jeez, yeah,
it's part 2 of the book, so it's not even the beginning of it or anything. It's like, if you are just picking up Batman, you're gonna have no idea what's going on.
Oh man.
Actually, part 1 is in Deathstroke Inc., so even you and I are not gonna know what's going on unless we pick that book up.
Ew.
Part 2 and 3 are going to be in our Batman and Robin book, but parts 1 and 4 are going to be in a book we're not there yet.
I don't like that. Oh, wow.
So I'm really afraid that too many people are going to jump off this book, and Joshua Williamson isn't really going to get the chance to tell his story.
You think they're going to cut him that quickly?
Who knows?
I mean, it's Batman, dude. Like,
no, I don't think so, unless they have an ace up their sleeve. I think because again, they have shown us Joshua Williamson's their dude right now, and so no, probably not. Well, I think he'll probably get 2 more arcs at least, so at least the rest of the year to figure it out. But I kind of just I'm closing this book, and I'm already ready for what he's going to do in 4 issues from now, which is kind of disappointing, because I
guess I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk about another book that a lot of people are kind of either on the fence or getting ready to jump off of. And to be honest, since the last issue, I almost did. But the drop in this book I thought was really cool. Right?
Oh, yeah?
So the mystery was, how is Arkham Tower keeping all of these inmates sane? How are they normal? How are they not killing people? How are they keeping their just mental stability?
Right.
And I think out of all the appearances I've seen of Psycho Pirate, this one to me was the most impactful, in my opinion. I never felt like I saw his power in full weight in any of the other books that we've currently read from DC when he was in them. Mainly in Incarnate, or what was it? The multiverse. Infinite Destinies.
No, that's the Marvel. Infinite Frontier.
Yes. Like, I felt like he was just kind of over here and like, look at Psycho Pirate. And he didn't really, he wasn't used properly, I guess, in my opinion. I didn't know anything about him. In this book, it was like, this is what Psycho Pirate does. And this is why it's such a big deal. And essentially, he was the drug. He was the therapy. He was telling everybody in that tower to chill the fuck out. And his friend, the doctor, basically was telling him, all right, we're adding one more patient. And he couldn't handle it. And he lost his shit. And he drank too many, Red Bulls and, had too many frozen burritos to the point where he, passed out. And when he passed out, the asylum went fucking nuts. And so we finally figure out what the actual therapy is, for this group. Essentially, this doctor is trying to make bank. He's trying to make so much money that they can just get away with this ruse of Psycho Pirate basically mind controlling everybody's emotions until they can leave and walk away with millions, if not billions of dollars from Gotham. I thought it was... I'll tell you right now, Nate, I thought this book was on its deathbed for me. I was kind of like, the introduction of Psycho Pirate, I'm kind of out. And then I read this issue and was like, I'm in. I finally understand Psycho Pirate. Yeah, I finally get him.
I think that, I understand the pacing of this book is really slow and it's not for everyone. I can see already how it's going to read as a collected edition. And again, I'm not even going to argue the semantics of whether comics should be written for the collected edition or for the issue by issue and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into all that. But I'm seeing this, and I know it's a slower pace, but I can feel what it would be like reading this all together, and I really enjoy it. And so, because it's coming out every week, it still feels very fresh. If we were to do this storyline over a year,
Oh God, no.
oh God, like horrible, like right, that would be ridiculous. But I really don't think that a story like this, told over a week by week period, I don't think that's too slow. I think that's an appropriate pace. But that's just me.
No, I agree. I was totally thrown off. I mean, it almost. This is going to be the craziest thing I say all night. This was almost my pick of the week.
Whoa.
It was almost my pick of the week, just because, like, that hook with Psycho, like showing the room that he was in, and there's just like cans and food just all over. Like, just keep him happy. Just keep feeding him so he'll keep everything working, and it's just crumbling. It's totally crumbling. I thought it was great. Almost my pick of the week.
I enjoyed it, and go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say, I know that's a crazy thing to say. Like, I've heard Robbie over on Pop Culture, who's like, I'm out, and and that's fine. Again, everyone is entitled. We're entitled to our opinions. He's a much more seasoned DC reader than us, and so, like, for me to say that, it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels very out of left field. But I just thought it was a very cool surprise.
I agree. Did you read the story? Still not reading this.
I don't know.
Why? I don't understand. Even Robbie was like, "Oh yeah, this is great."
I know. I just
Why?
I
What are
get
you doing?
because I want to keep. I want to, like. I'm not to the next
part
book.
of it. If you're not on to the next book, there's still this much left to read.
On to the next book.
Well, I would say that even though the main story of this book is really great, the backup is every bit just as good.
Okay.
Where the kid is getting walked through Arkham again, and it looks like he's going to get released. Everyone's like, "Oh, see you later, kid," and he sees Clayface again and stuff like that. And then he gets out there, and Penguin is the one that has essentially adopted him. And he says, like, "All right, come on, listen. Like, you're gonna be one of my boys. Like, you're gonna work here for me. But here's your room. Here's where you sleep. Here's your money. Here's an advance. Like, go do whatever the fuck you want to do. Be back here by 6 to work." And the kid's just like, "What?" And he's like, "You're not a slave here, kid. You can do what you want. Just make sure you show up for work." And like, it's just been really interesting to see the transformation of this kid and like how fucked his life is. And I'm really interested to see if he is going to end up being someone that we know. And this is just like a story of him and his younger age or something.
Interesting.
But literally at the end, he's walking and like counting his money because he's a naive kid. What does he know? And he's like walking through an alleyway, and some guy comes up and just slams his head into the brick, makes blood start pouring from his head, and he's like, "If you want to walk through my alley, you have to pay the toll." And then the Penguin literally strolls up, and is like, "If you want that boy's hole, you got to pay my toll." And literally was just like, "Oh, whose alley is this?" And the kid's like, "Oh, sorry, Penguin, I'm sorry. I didn't realize he was one of your boys." And he's like, "It doesn't matter. Like, you shouldn't be doing this shit in my area." And he's like, he tells the guy to kiss the bricks that the kid bled on. And then he goes, "All right, boy, what do you want me to do with him?" And the kid's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What do you want me to do with him?" He's like, "Let him go." And the Penguin's like, "All right, sounds good." And then curb stomps him to death.
Damn.
And he's like, "Something you got to learn in life, kid, that you don't always get what you want."
Fuck.
I was like, fuck. This is intense. Like,
Damn.
for a Batman book, like, it's really intense.
Right.
So maybe
All
we
right.
should
Okay, I'll get on. All right. After that, we've got Dark Knights of Steel issue number 4 from Tom Taylor.
I'm gonna scream.
I know you are, and I'll scream right there with you because the story's good. The story's good.
I'll actually go so far as to say the artwork's pretty good too.
Well, artwork's pretty damn good, but it's not the same goddamn artwork.
What?
It's not the same artist.
What the fuck?
I don't know. You did the cover. Why couldn't you do the inside? Like, I don't know, man. I mean, do you think the reason why we got an artist change is because we're trying to create a sense of differentiality, telling, what's the word? Prologue, epilogue, prologue, Or is it that the artist can't keep up, so we put in a filler issue and just explained it even further why Bruce is actually Kryptonian?
Yes, that one. I think the story would have been the same. I don't think the story itself, the words and story pages in the book would have been different, regardless of whether Yasmin... What is it? Putri. Oh, that's an unfortunate name. Whether she could have been ready or not, I don't think that changed anything. But no, I don't have any... There's no... The only way that the reason why we have a different artist is because it's a flashback is because they said, oh, Yasmin costs this much per page and Bangle costs this much per page. Here's a great way for us to save some money. And let's put Bangle on the flashback and everyone will be fine with it. Because it's a flashback. It doesn't need to look the same.
I don't agree. And the mainly reason why I don't agree is because of what the revelation that happens in this book, right? So Lex Luthor, piece of shit, a counsel to to Bruce's parents, right? And then he ends up getting them killed. A volcano erupts, a rock flies out, he touches it, he gets vaporized, and he ends up becoming Tom Taylor, the word wizard and concept wizard that he is. Combined Lex Luthor, the Joker, and Green Lantern into one giant villain. That's awesome. Again, so close to being my pick of the week, but there were two critiques again for this book: the change in artist, and this book reads too damn fast. Maybe it's because it's so good, and maybe it has nothing to do with the amount of words that are actually in the book. Maybe it's just so good that by the time it ends, I'm just like, no, give me more, right?
I would say that this issue in particular proves that it's the latter. It's just that it's that good, because this issue, I would say, was a more dense read than the other issues significantly. But as far as like number of words per page, I would say there was a lot more in this issue than there were in the previous three. I just think it's just that good, and we're just flying through it.
It's good and fucking
more.
Yeah, more. That's so frustrating that the artist changed. That's really the only
how much better this page could have been.
Right? That reveal was so cool.
And that's really shitty, honestly, of us to say as far as like Bangle is concerned, because like the art in this is good.
It is
4 pages into it before I even noticed.
Okay.
So it wasn't right off the rip for me. Like I was like, oh, her face looks a little like too plain to me. And then I was like, wait a minute, and I flipped over and was like, you got me. But like he does a phenomenal job. I'm not trying to say that he's not a good artist. It's just like on a 12-issue mini. And Grayson said it too. Like, you've got a head start. You know the beginning, middle, and end. This isn't something that's bullshitted along the way. This isn't. I don't know. We could be going on for 50 issues. I'm 38 issues in. I could use a break. It's none of that kind of shit. It's like 12 issues. I bet you Tom Taylor and Putri pitched this thing 2 years ago. Like, come on. Like, you've got time.
Well, also Calvin brings up a good point, and I think us as readers and as whatever you want to call us, if we're critics or whatever you want to call us, I think us as the community need to uplift and show. I don't know how you do it, because like you're saying, like, it's really hard. It's all about the money. It's all about the pennies, right? It makes sense. But I think as a community, we need to lift up these artists and writers and colorists and letterers and be like, look, their worth is, it's monumental. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a lot higher than they're getting credit for.
Exactly. Sure. And so to Calvin's point, saying, knowing how hard these artists work and how little they are usually paid and the lack of credit they often get, artist shifts don't usually bother me. I mean, it bothers me, and that's okay if it doesn't bother you, but I think that statement alone says that we need, as a community, to uplift these people and say, yes, we bought your book, we're still supporting you that way, but anytime you can do a shout out on Twitter or Instagram, I know that sounds very small, right? But I love being able to interact with these artists and just say like, "Oh my God, your work is fantastic. Keep going. It's amazing. You know, you're one of the reasons why I'm going into my LCS and picking up comics." Like, you know, it's a team effort, and I think, you know, obviously Marvel and DC and any other form of studio can do much more than just, you know, putting your name at the end of a credit of a show. You know, give them more money for when they do create these things. That totally makes sense. I don't know how we do that. I mean, that is the mystery of it all, and we got to figure out that equation. But we have to figure out a way to show more support to these artists, writers, letters, and colorists.
I will tell you right now how one way that we do that as consumers, and that is stacking up the back end of our pull list with independents.
Independents, you're correct.
And look at how, I mean, we're almost there, but look how much better they are than our big boy comics this week too.
All right, let's talk about this book really quick. It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I didn't like it.
It wasn't good. I utterly confused.
Honestly, you know what this reminded me a lot of? I don't know if you've read it. This reminded me, not a lot, but it reminded me of very first issue of Nova, like the 70s, like very, very first.
I've never read it. No,
Nova.
no.
So it was very much, they were trying to emulate, they were trying to copy Spider-Man. Like, it was like, oh, he's just a high school loser with not a lot of friends, and here's his mommy, and like blah blah blah, and he becomes a hero. And like, it just, I felt that. And so this, to me, while it didn't feel old, like it felt like a modern comic, its framing felt like some dude from the 70s wrote the storyboards for this or something. It was like,
okay,
I agree. Like, man, we've been telling this story for 50 years. We really don't need to do this again. You know, and it relied too much on Batman in the most random way.
Yeah, it felt so out of character.
It was kind of awkward to me. Like, I couldn't understand what they were trying to convey to me when he was eking. I guess I don't know how. Like, that's just what he. Yeah, but I didn't get that. I literally understand the entire premise, and I still didn't get that.
Oh, okay.
I was like, is he about to throw up, or like, what's happening to this kid? Like, I don't know. I will not be picking up anything.
No, I'm done as well, and I feel bad about it because, you know, like we're trying to incorporate new things, and it just didn't hit for some reason.
No.
And Batman, I just felt like Batman's portrayal, it just didn't. And maybe it's perspective, right? Maybe it's a perspective shift. Like we're doing it, the perspective of Batman via the Monkey Prince, right? Maybe that's it, but it just didn't feel right at all. And yeah, it's a no for me. I'm sorry.
I will say two things. One, the hook at the end almost got me for a second issue, just because it was wacky as hell. Batman throws a batarang at the Monkey Prince to try to stop him, and proceeds to cut his head off.
Yeah.
And his head is bouncing on the floor, and he's like, "What's happening?" Like, that was pretty funny. I'm curious what that means, like, for him. Like, was this a dream, or is he somehow able to?
Is he invincible?
Reanimate, or is he invincible?
Yeah.
And also, while the story wasn't great, the art was fantastic to me.
Oh, art was great.
Bernard Chang is really, really good, and I think he really like left it all on the page for this book.
For sure.
It had all the action scenes were really good. All of the splash pages had tons of detail, but it just they even went a little unconventional. Whenever he goes in the water and you go to this weird world, it's not his world. The book shifts sideways, which I don't care how much of a shtick that is. I love it. Like, if you make it work, like the Flash issue from a few months ago, if it makes sense, like while he was in this world, it made sense for us to be sideways. He literally was in a sideways world. Oh, weird. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Do that. I love it.
Right. No, I agree.
But like, the story was just so bad. Like, you know what? What I hope is you and I are going to jump off, and that's whatever. And then by issue 5, or by the time the trade comes out, everyone's going to be holding the trade going, "You dum-dums, you idiots, pick this book up." And we were wrong. But
Yeah, I'd love it when we're wrong.
No.
All right, next up, we go into our independents. We kick it off with Aftershocks' final issue of the first arc of Chicken Devil, issue number 4.
This cheers.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
I just...
Is that a 4 for 4 for this series?
Yes, this series is a total wipe of pick of the weeks for Jim. This is a great book, and every time you think you know what's going to happen, something else happens. You just don't. And I love the writing. I think the way it's paced and how it's structured and how you read it works perfectly. And there's these little side notes, this little side voice that you get in the book, and you can like I can hear that voice talking every time, you know. And this book is fucking brutal, and I can't believe that it wasn't even on my radar. Like, it wasn't even, I didn't even know anything about it. Yeah, you picked it up, and you're like, you're not picking up Chicken Devil? I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Chicken Devil, I highly recommend it. Not for kids, just
not for
obviously.
Kids. I don't even think we should sell the plot.
Nope.
Like, yeah.
Just, I'll say this: the artwork in this book is fucking brutal, fantastic. The coloring is great. I can literally hear the music playing. If this was a movie, like, I know exactly how the movie would be scored. Just like every page, I'm like, yep, here we go. Shit's about to go down.
Also, something this comic does really well is the layout. The layout of the panels is very good. It conveys tone so well. Like, I could feel, in movies sometimes when like a person is, something big has happened and they're trying to zone in and like there's the background noise and it's like, it goes in like that. I literally heard that on this panel. Like, it just made perfect sense. And everyone's voice is really fleshed out here. Like, I almost felt like I could literally hear what their voices would sound like in my head because it just made sense. But
yeah,
you think you know what's going to happen in this book, and on every issue you're like, okay, I feel like I know where this is going, and you don't.
No, it's always like the last 2 pages that just throw you off, and you're like, wait, what? This is the shortest review of a pick of the week, but it was just fantastic. And I think the end was like, the end, maybe. I'm like, no, maybe. Like, there needs to be a maybe. Like, there needs to be a yes. Like,
the end for now.
For now.
God, and then in his thank you letter, he says, "Stay tuned. We've got more Chicken Devil cooking."
Hell yes.
I think we have to have a volume 2. I mean, I have no idea where the fuck he's gonna go with it, but I'm ready to read it.
Yeah. Going to chat, 7 says, yes, Chicken Devil, 4 for 4, well deserved. Ending got me so hyped from Michael. And also, man, the way the panels are when he speaks to his mom are so good. And when he's having a breakdown, I mean, it's just all of it. And like, right when you cut to like, I know how to fix this, like, just, it was so cool. The Lemonade bit was great. Yeah, all of it was good. It's just, this is a great book. Out of left field.
Yeah, here, just so everyone can get the Lemonade bit, because this won't ruin any plot.
Yeah.
The dude is handling some very important business while sitting in his car, and one of his employees comes out and says, "Hey, you're gonna come inside. You're supposed to be the manager on shift." And he's like, he asked the employees, like, "You don't think you guys can handle it?" And the kid says, "I mean, we can, but none of us is a manager." And then the guy says, "Yeah, well, sometimes life hands you a bag." Sometimes life hands you a bag of dicks, and you've got to do your best to make lemonade. And the kid's like, "From dicks?" That's the thing. You never know what you're capable of until you put it to the test.
And then I also like in between him having that conversation with that kid, he's texting the Russian mob boss like dick emojis and fucking just going all like. There's just so much going on, and in actuality, it's very busy, but it works. It works perfectly well.
It does. Is that all you had for Chicken Devil?
Yeah, pretty much. Again, this is my pick.
Loved it. So close to my pick of the week too.
Masked Panther. We actually have done a video about it, and I need to upload it. My bad. I haven't, dude, we did 3 videos last week. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, and that wasn't one of them.
Okay. Well, so tomorrow we will have a new video out about how we feel about Spider-Man rebooting at #1. We have talked about it. We just haven't posted it.
Yes.
But it's
the quick synopsis is yes, we did hear that. Zeb Wells, everything else.
Me. All right, next up we have Donny Cates' crossover issue number 11. Yeah? Okay, wow.
That's Nate's pick of the week.
I thought okay. That's good. This is again, this book is just, the question I have is what we're reading what actually happened at the Image offices, where Donny came up with this crossover idea, and by issue 6 he's like, and that's the end, and the whole group was like, no, we're gonna keep going. That's the mystery, right? Are we reading the actual internal thoughts of Donny Cates saying, I want to end it, but no one will let me end it, and I don't know how to end it. And it's like a commentary on what we talk about Donny all the time. When it's like he's literally slapping us in the face with his dick. He's just like, I hate you. Like, stop saying I don't know how to end comics.
The amount of tongue in cheek. I mean, just like the entire time this book was going down, I was just like, holy shit. Like, Donny is literally just going, hey, fuck you.
Fuck you.
The absolute what's the time travel paradox called? Was that or it's just called paradox? I don't know. Whatever. The paradox of this of the meta of all of this that makes you think, well, is this what actually happened? And then he couldn't end it, and then he was trying, or is that what he wants us to think happens, but he has a really good ending this whole time? Or maybe he doesn't, and he's setting himself up for that, so if it's a bad ending, he can tell you, yeah, what the fuck, I told you it didn't have an ending. and if it's good, he can be like, yeah, motherfuckers, I had it the whole time. Like, I will go ahead and admit, like, right now, like, I'm a sucker for this kind of thing, like this meta commentary, literally putting yourself into your own story and being a double agent to your reader, and you can't trust them. Like, you can't even trust the writer as himself in his own book. You can't trust what he's saying.
Yeah.
The amount of paradoxical meta that is, I love it. I absolutely love it.
No,
it's so fun.
He did a great job, and again, this book read really quickly, even though I know there was a lot of substance in it. And I think that just is a bookmark, a marker to say, this is really good content. And when it ends, you're like, wait, no. I don't want to know. And I even know, like, I know the next issue we're getting a, what's it called? Damn it. What's the book that everybody loves? The zombie book.
Walking Dead?
We're getting a Walking Dead, like, massive crossover going on here, where Negan actually looks like he's human. Like, he doesn't have comic book stuff on him. Like, he looks...
Yeah, he's human. He doesn't have the pixelated look.
Right. And so we're getting, a Walking Dead actual tie-in into the book, which I've never read Walking Dead, but I think that's awesome. It's got a lot of the... Huh? I've seen where Negan shows up. I haven't really watched the show. My dad's more into it. I had to call my dad and be like, what's the name of that character? But anyway, what I like about it, again, we talk about all the bullet points that you said, but also just being able to incorporate more and more independent writers' characters into the book and just like expand the universe, and to get the community to just get giddy over it, I think is what is so awesome about comics. And I guess I wouldn't say it's easier to do in independent books. I just wish we'd see more of this in our mainstream Marvel DC books, right? Like, and it does happen from time to time, but they're so rare, And so, and I really think it's because you've got editorial that's just so scared to like be meta, You know, and it's like, just fucking do it. Like, we're nerds. That's what we like. We want to see that stuff. We want to experience that stuff in the books. We want to go, oh shit, you know? And I feel like Donnie's like expressing even more. I mean, he even takes a hit on Marvel. Like, he's like, after all my Marvel stuff was done, but it felt like a hit on like, I don't want to do that anymore. You know, like, it almost felt like that. Yeah. And maybe it is. And again, we go back at it. Like, is this a comment? Is he basically saying, I'm almost done with my Marvel stuff. Like, and I have no intentions of going back. Could be, you know, he does have a, what's it called?
Contract?
No, what's the independent thing that everybody's doing on the internet?
Substack.
Substack. I was going to call it Subslack. I was like, what? Substack. But anyway, yeah, this is great. I'm really happy that this is your pick of the week.
That's
Yeah.
Nick's pick of the week.
Yeah. The best part is too that no one can draw any real conclusions behind what he's saying here, because he could always be like, "Nope, you just didn't get it."
Exactly. That's the best part.
Unless he literally just flat out says, "I'm saying this," which even at that point you'd be like, "That's a character in a comic. That's not me."
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right. Next up, our penultimate book of the night, and it is Noctera issue number 7. I liked it, but it felt too much of a, hey, you're not reading Noctera right now, so let me explain to you what's been going on. And I understand why that's written that way, but for me, it was kind of a, I don't know, it felt too clunky.
There was 100%. This is the reason why this wasn't my pick of the week, is there's way too much recap. The amount of real estate that was taken up in this comic for recap, to me, was borderline, almost like you couldn't even fill the comic or something. Like, it made me feel.
Well, it was an issue number 1. Like, it was literally just a relaunch. Like, you know what I mean?
It was very strange. It was very strange,
Yeah.
the amount of catch up that we had here. I didn't really like it. I thought some of it was good when it first started. I was like, oh, this is really clever, having Piper tell it instead of having Val be the narrator. I was like, I really like that. That's cool. And then it just kept going, and it just kept going. It was just these big red bricks of text, and I was like, yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. What? Okay. So that was very frustrating. But other than that, to me it was the same amount of traditional Noctera fun. I don't think it was anything that was like mind-blowing, but I really did enjoy the substance that we got here. I like that we've been running from Blacktop Bill the whole time, and now we're gonna have to seek him out.
Yeah, I liked that. I also liked the basically, like, whoever created Blacktop Bill, they've created more to go hunt him. Like, I'm like, oh shit! Like, now we got some shit going on. That was cool, but that was what, 2 pages. So the drive-in did look really cool. Like, that art was fantastic. Yeah.
I don't understand how Moray makes things look so bright it makes me want to squint my eyes. Like, this is not it's not protruding light. Like, I understand it's reflecting it somewhat, but like, I literally was like, oh god, it's bright.
Oh,
but
maybe that's because like everything else is so dark, so when you get to a panel like that, you're like, whoa, like visually and color wise, it's like it's very distracting, which is good. I mean, that's the point.
No, I liked it. I don't know. The more I reflect on this issue, what did happen was fun. I think we've got a lot of setup, right? We've got Blacktop Bill's coming back in the picture. Maybe he's going to be an ally of some sorts. There are other versions of Blacktop Bill out there. Are they better or worse than he is? The Shades. Was it really human shades that came and took all of the normal humans away? Or was that like some kind of just human on human kidnapping? Because I'm just not convinced that the Shades did it, but maybe they did. I don't know, because they talked a lot about how Emery was like, no, they're smarter than we think they are, and they have a language and all that. So I think there's a lot of good setup for the arc that we have coming. Let's just not
too much
ruin
recap.
Crap out.
Yeah, too much recap. The math explanation lost me. I mean, it was a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Counting cards. All right, let's talk about our last book of the night, and that is...
Don't we have 2 books?
I didn't read the other one, and I did read it. I did read it, and I was not... if you want, I don't have it on the show if you want to talk about it.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
Okay. I figured this one was better. I thought this one was better out of the 2 anyway.
Okay.
And that is New Masters, issue number 1. If you're looking for something new, right, just something completely new and no ties to anything, you know what I mean? Like just a brand new concept, I highly recommend picking up New Masters. This is setting up a new world. It's setting up everything new, and it's just a fresh take on a story that I thought I initially was like, I don't know, but then we got to the back end of the book and I was like, wait, what? And then the very end I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I had my doubts, but I was like, you know what? There's something here.
Yeah. I was really happy with this book for 2 things. The art was really intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the how it felt. All of the like settings and stuff felt really very refined, but the action shots felt very like
There's a lot of movement,
artistic, and it just felt very scratchy and artistic and good.
Yeah.
I don't know that I enjoyed the second half more than the first half so much as I didn't after I finished the book. And the reason is because I see what I hope is going to be the way that they continue this book is almost by the first half of the book is telling you a story. We're going to continue the story with our main character, or the main girl. I don't remember her name, but
I started with an A, I thought.
Ola.
Ola.
It's basically, this is like we're getting 2 stories of this world. The story of a really, really micro zoomed in story of one person living in this world, and then a really zoomed out picture of the overall economy or big picture ideas of this universe. And if that's the case, I am super on board with having the 2 different stories.
Yeah.
Because they did feel a little disjointed.
Big time.
But
almost to the point where after the end of the second part, I was like, wait, what happened to the first part? But I feel like we're going to get... And it took more of me reading the writer's notes to kind of understand what we were doing. Yeah. And I don't mark that as a negative, in my opinion.
Not for a first issue, especially when you're still trying to lay out everything that you're doing. This is just a cool sci-fi story. Basically, a ship crashes onto Earth. That's from... It's not explicitly stated that it's from Jupiter, but they're called Jovians. Isn't that technically one of the moons, right?
I think so.
And so they're from Jupiter or somewhere around there, and then that introduced Earth to all the different aliens that are in the solar system and introduced them to whatever metal that was. I'm not going to remember.
It's like obsidian, but it's like observium or something like that. So it ends with an M.
I think it's just obsidium.
Obsidium, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. Obsidium.
But also in the crash, there was like some kind of like supercomputer knowledge bit that crash landed that is of value, right? So the first half, we have this main character who is pirating obsidium from pipes and just trying to find pure obsidium rather than synthetic, which is valued very highly on the black market. And then the second half of the book, like you're saying, is more like the economy and how it's moved by obsidium and how Earth is kind of slave to it. But then there's this rumor, right, or myth that when that massive crash happened, there was this infinite source of knowledge that crashed on the Earth that would be of very use to whoever found it, right? And if Earth in general can find it, then its importance within the galaxy can rise much higher rather than just obsidium, right? Just being kind of like Dune and spice, right? Like yeah, everybody wants spice, but that's all they're good for. When there's actually a much more richer culture and wealth within the planet that nobody knows about, and that's kind of what we're doing here. The other thing that's being not accented, but is of note, is this is an all, I believe, an all African American creative team who is pushing for, you know, this world to be built within the continent of Africa, and they want, you know, they said in the notes, like, they want to expose more of this dynamic part of the country, or I'm sorry, of the world, to comic book readers, to readers. And I think that's, I'm all about it. You know, I think we've always talked about how we want to bring in more diverse comics into the show, more writers and more artists into the show. And when we have that opportunity, we're going to do it. And, you know, Ron, we had, again, this was not on our radar, and Ron was like, hey, read New Masters. Like, you need to read this book. And I, you know, I'm giving my 100% honest opinion. I think it's a great book. I think everyone should pick it up and check it out and see if it's something for you. I think it's worth the time to read, for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I think it's an oversized book, $3.99. The art's really good. Yeah. So even if you read it and the story's not quite there, I think giving it a second issue is really going to be worth it, because there's a lot that they set up in this issue that I think can take us a long way.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely be picking up issue number 2. So thanks, Ron, for leading us in that direction to pick it up. So definitely go check out New Masters. If it is at your LCS, I would give it a shot. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Two Fat Guys Pull List FU. Episode 76 is in the books. We will see you guys again this Wednesday for New Comic Book Day for the week of February, let's see, this 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. And it's a little slim. I looked at it. It's pretty slim for me. I don't know about you.
I've got 13 books.
13 books?
I've got 11.
Let me check. Yeah, it's. I mean, when I saw the total, I was like, huh? But there are some heavy hitters next week. I am excited about what books are coming out next week. I mean, we get an X-Men one-shot. We Devil's Reign. Yeah. We get a Batgirls. Seven Secrets, I think, is, I don't know. Yeah. Pick of the week is going to be interesting, and obviously New Mutants. We have not had New Mutants in a while.
Yeah, it looks like the final issue of the Star Wars High Republic Trial of Shadows mini is coming out next week. I have not reviewed any of those issues on the show, but if that continues to be as good as I think it is, I think I'll do a full wrap up next week of that.
What is that again? Say it again. I'm sorry, I was reading a comment.
It's the High Republic Trail of Shadows.
Oh, yes.
Trial of Shadows. It's where they're trying to investigate what happens to Loden Greatstorm whenever he gets turned into statue, basically. Remember when the Tarek and Steric brothers, they get frozen? And they're like,
yes.
They're so scared. They're trying to investigate that.
Okay.
And it's, from what I understand, it's supposed to be very vital to the High Republic storyline in general. So if I think it's good and has value, I'll do a whole 5-issue highlight of that.
Okay.
Also,
Patty, I have not watched Peacemaker. There's too much TV to watch, but I will get to it.
Oh man, I want to.
So much TV.
If you are like us and you're fans of Wind, the second volume comes out next week, hardcover. And I have heard that they grossly underestimated the amount of pre-orders that they wanted for the hardcover, and they already solicited a softcover. So what you see is what you get on this hardcovers. If you are a fan and want it in hardcover, I would pick it up for sure. I'm going to be picking it up for sure. I actually think I already have it pre-ordered, but
there you go.
I will be grabbing it for sure. And if you're on the fence about it, I would say go ahead and pick it up, because it's probably going to end up being a collector's item, just like the first one was, which was also underprinted. How do you do that 2 times in a row? I don't understand. But
Boom Studios has been really bad lately at doing that. I mean, they did that with Something's Killing with the Children. Now with Wind. Whatever.
Well, yeah. I think they're finally gonna figure it out. But this, I think, was printed, started printing like 2 months ago or something, like a really long time ago. So
gotcha.
Anyway, I think the third volume starts up in like 2 or 3 weeks. So get caught up so you can read.
Yeah, definitely. That's another one of those highly recommended books that we talk about all the time. Anyway, guys, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Also, we will get that Spider-Man video out, I promise, and you will know exactly how we feel about Spider-Man. But as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give us a like, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Read more comics, fam. Always. Duh. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.